What's up, guys? We're back with another Brook video. We are looking at the OP16.5 meta and a potential deck list to run with this. We get a lot of new starter decks and a lot of new options here. I'm very excited to test this out. I'm going to give a really quick rundown on what we're looking at and how this might differ from the average Brook list and how it might differ from OP17. So, at first glance, it's pretty obvious. I am running a slash package. I'm including these Prona searchers. Um, I am still testing this package. I really like it. I think it provides some early game consistency that we might otherwise not have. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the package to run, but I'm really enjoying it and I think it's worth testing. If you do not want to play Prona or you don't have her, and especially with her shooting up in price with the new Mihawk and the new Shanks coming out, the new Mihawk updates and the new Shanks. Don't run her. You can easily just run 4 of these new Kinemones that come out in the Zoro starter deck in 1 week. Run 4 of these and then just replace the last Prona with the spoils or a Brook. Anything you can throw the one of anywhere you want. You do not need to run her, but I like it for the consistency. Next we are running the Kinemon at 2. I was running him at 3 or 4, I believe, during a couple of the games, but then I realized that I was not running enough 2Ks. I was running 4 of these Kinemons and 2 of these Zoros, and during my playtesting, even though it was playing pretty well, I could just feel a complete lack of 2Ks. It just felt wrong. And so when I checked the deck list, I realized that it just didn't look right. So I took away 2 Kinemones and 1 Prona or 1 Kinemon and 1 Prona and added 2 more Zoros. So um, this card is great. Its on play effect is you may rest one of your slash attribute leaders or a Dawn card. So this will either cost 1 Dawn and you rest a leader, or it'll cost 2 Dawn basically. And then you just do draw 2, trash 1. Provides great hand filter, and I think this will be a pretty key staple in most green decks. So keep your eye out for these. The next is this 1 cost 2000 counter Zoro. It has character rush and it rests a 2 cost or less on play. Very solid. It's great for the decks that go really wide that we really struggle against as Brook. And another addition that I haven't really talked about is Lon Beppo. Lon Beppo was in a lot of lists in OP15 and it's kind of been removed, but I think he's like as a slash searchable endgame option. I'm not hating him as much as I used to, and with the inclusion of a lot of decks that are going a lot higher, right? We do have Enel and we do have green, blue Luffy that go really low and wide, but now we're starting to see a lot of green decks and a lot of blue and purple decks that are going really tall. And this card is just perfect to counter those decks that go really tall. It stalls a turn, and if you have your Nightmare Luffy on board, then you actually are a 9,000 power leader. Makes it very difficult for your opponent to be able to go for lethal if you play things correctly. Other than that, that's about it. Everything else is of the normal package. We have our Searcher, our mill cards, right? These 2Ks and this 0K event, they all mill cards. Chopper, Docking, Nightmare Luffy. This is our core engine right here. You play Chopper on 2, Docking on 5, Luffy on 7, and then Nami on 9, because she can play any card from trash. All the 1 and 2 ofs I pretty much want to see in trash. This Zoro, this Brook, these Luffys I want to see in trash. I am running 2 of these 4-cost Usops over 4-cost blocker Nami. I think he provides a lot of value, and I think he will be very, very, very good in OP17 when we see a lot more resting options, because this blocker cannot be rested by leader or character effects. I'm running a 1 of the double attack event. I think it is too good to have 0 of. It just sneaks lethals. And I'm very excited to keep testing this card. People aren't ready for it. And even if it's not sneaking a lethal, it's doing a lot of damage to your opponent when they least expect it. So this is what I'm running with right now. I'm gonna keep testing. I might add a fourth Nami. I might add a third Lon Beppo. I want to be careful with the brooks with the bricks that I run in Brook. And finally, I will test a list that does not run Prona and will just run a 4 Kinemon. But this is what I run with today, and so I'm excited to share with you guys some of the gameplay. So let's just get started. All right, we'll start off with our first game. Our opponent is red-green OP13 Luffy. This is a very strong leader. I've always had faith in it. It comes and goes throughout the meta, but it recently got some buffs with the new red Luffy starter deck, so I'm excited to see how this plays. His main effect is Dawn ×1. On your opponent's turn, all of your active Dawn become 2,000 power counters. So very strong, very defensive, and I think it'll just get better the more solid red and green cards get released. So very cool. A little thoughts on this matchup specifically. I haven't had too much of a problem with this matchup. I know it is a menace entering this new format, but I think it's pretty manageable. I don't see how it can really overpower us with our big bodies, and the game plan is just to starve them until they get low on hand size, and then clear their board, and then eventually go for life. So that's exactly what I'll do in this game. Let's get started. My opponent chooses to go first, putting us on the even curve, which isn't the best, but I have thrown in that new law, and I am a little more comfortable on the even curve than I used to be with how much filter we have, although it's not ideal. So my opponent plays a Nami Searcher and grabs the Thousand Sunny, which is the new addition. It is a stage for Luffy. I play my own Nami Searcher, grab a Chopper, put my Zoro to the top because I want it in my trash, play another Nami Searcher, grab Sanji. There are both my 6-cost laws. Guess I'm not seeing him this game. Totally fine. Nothing too crazy. My opponent plays the Thousand Sunny, searching and revealing a 7-cost Zoro. Attaches a Dawn to leader for free with the stage. It's just such a good stage. Free Dawn every turn. And you can't really interact with it. So really awesome addition to the deck. They swing for 6. I take it. I don't want to get rid of my Sanji right now. And I draw into a docking, which is good information, because I probably would have searched one with Chopper. I do a Nami search. There's my third Nami. It's a little unfortunate. I send it to the top. That means I have to grab Nami from trash, which is okay. I play Chopper. I'm deciding whether I want to grab Nami now or maybe grab it later. I will be playing docking next turn, so I should probably wait to grab her. Perhaps grab one of those 2Ks, but maybe I decide better safe than sorry. I do have two 2Ks in hand, so it wouldn't hurt to grab that Usopp if I ever wanted to play him. Very strong card. I do opt for going to go for a 2K just because Luffy will be swinging for 6 pretty much every turn with this this new stage. So there's another 6. I can 2K out of this. I can take it. I decided 2K. I know this is going to be a long game, so I'm a little more weary about taking life. I draw into my 4th 2K Sanji. Pretty funny. I swing for 6. Just a kind of a poke, just to check to see if he's paying attention. And of course, he uses his leader ability, resting 1 Dawn, to get out of it. I play docking and a Chopper, grab Nami, and end the turn. Things are pretty slow against red-green Luffy. Do not rush it. Do not be afraid. Just don't rush it. This is going to be a long game. Don't be afraid about taking your time, spending your attacks wisely, and not swinging when you know that your characters aren't going to do anything. My opponent plays double attack Luffy, restanding for Dawn into a Nami search, grabs another 7-cost Zoro, so I know he has at least 2 bricks in hand, and passes the turn with 5 Dawn. I mill. I have 9 cards left. I know this is going to be quite a long game, so I hopefully won't mill again. And I should swing for 5 just to see what he'll do. I'm not going to swing my docking. I don't want to give any value from my Luffy. I decide that I have the turn. So I have the time. There's no point in swinging, so I end up doing a draw 2 trash 1 with the new Kinemon resting my leader. He has 5 active Dons, so he would be able to get out of a 5,000 power swing very easily. I trashed the Law and grabbed the double attack event just in case I could sneak a quick double attack off of my Nightmare Luffy. This double attack event has been great. It actually won me a couple games. I love it as a 1 of, even as a 2 of. I have it as 1 right now because the list is feeling really tight. So my opponent swings for 7. I give him a 1. Then he swings for 10. I don't want to go down to 0 here. I have the counter in hand. I give him 2 2s, and I pass the turn. And then my opponent passes the turn. Restands 2 Dawn. Things are looking good. We both have pretty solid boards. I play Nami. I want... I think it's time to clear board. My opponent, I know, has a couple bricks in hand. Only 4 Dawn is very manageable, especially with some of these bigger bodies that I'm putting down. And I rest Usopp. I trash a card, give my leader 3 Dawn. I want to get rid of this Usopp as quickly as possible. He is a big value driver for Red Green Luffy, restanding 2 Dawn at the end of turn. I go 7. You want to always swing odd numbers into Luffy since he has unlimited 2Ks. I swing 7 into 5. He misplays. I'm going to pause real quick. He spends 2 Dawn to give Usopp 4,000 power, but that event is actually supposed to restand Dawn, and either he does not restand the Dawn or I'll pause. It says up to 1 of your leader characters gains 4,000 power during this battle, which he gives to Usopp. Then you may discard a card if you did set the 3 of your Dawn as active. Maybe he didn't want to discard a card. Maybe he's very happy with all the cards in his hand. That's fair. Or maybe he misplayed and meant to do it and didn't. Either way, I think it was probably would have probably been better to pitch a card from hand to restand that Dawn and protect the board more. But he doesn't. So I'm going to keep swinging into this Usopp until he is gone. I will probably go 9 into Usopp with my leader. I go 9 into Usopp with Zoro first, just in case I want to save any of this Dawn for a larger swing into double attack Luffy. He does let it go, and so I will swing 9 into double attack Luffy, which would take both of those Dawn cards, or one of the Dawn cards, and 1k counter. He gives me both, and I'm going to keep going into board, swing 10 into it, swing 11 to it, swing 11. Why not swing 11? I have the Dawn. Let's get this off the board. I have cleared my opponent's board. All he has left of value is this 5 cost 7,000 power Sanji. My opponent drops one of the 7 cost Zoros that he searched for earlier in the game, upping Luffy to a 7,000 power leader. And since I have a large character on my side, it gives Zoro character rush. He swings into docking. I let him have it. It's a 7,000 power character. I'm not too worried about it. I'm dropping body after body after body. I counter out of a 7 from Sanji, and I take an 8 from Luffy. So I immediately drop Law and Beppo, resting and freezing the already rested Zoro, putting my leader to plus 2,000 power until the end of my opponent's next turn. I swing 7 into Sanji. He lets go immediately, which it was interesting. I believe he rested a Dawn for that, actually. Maybe that was a misclick as well. I'm not totally sure. I swing 9 into life. It's time to go into life. This Zoro is not a threat for the foreseeable future, so I'm not too stressed. Gives me 1k, 1 cost event, getting out of a 9k swing, and then he takes the 10,000 power swing to face. I am in a commanding position right now. As you can see, my leader is at 9,000 power. My Luffy buffs my leader to 7, and then I believe my Law and Beppo gives me plus 2,000 power, so they stack on top of each other, which is very nice. My opponent drops the new 7 cost 9k Luffy, who gives minus 1,000 power to one of your opponent's characters, depending on the amount of Straw Hat crew type characters on your board. So he gives minus 3,000 power to my Nightmare Luffy, swings in for 6. I'm debating whether or not to counter out of this, because I know he only has 1 more swing coming, realistically, and I don't want him swinging to life. So I give him a 3k event, because I know it'll get out of it, and my opponent is probably going to use this Rush Luffy to swing into my Nightmare Luffy, which I am okay with letting go, since I still have 1 life, and I'm still at a comfortable commanding position. Attaches 2 Dawn, swings 11 into 4. You got it. There's nothing I can do about this. I don't have no blockers up. That's fine. I expect no more cards, or no more attacks coming at me. Interestingly, he only leaves 1 Dawn up. I'm a little surprised. I don't know why he attached and swung so heavy. Maybe he feels safe with 3 life and 1 Dawn. But I have 4 solid attacks coming his way at least, and I have ways to rest that Dawn. And I'm within mill range. I'm officially hit my 4 cards left in deck, which means I can just use leader ability. I'm counting out my Dawn. I'm trying to decide how much I should swing for, what I should do. That double attack event would have been nice if I could have kept my Luffy up, but alas, nothing you can do. I use Chopper, and I want a Brook, right? So I play Brook to rest that last Dawn. That is a free 2,000 power counter out of hand. I swing for 5, which would require 1. If I were him, I would probably counter out of this if possible. That way I can be more prepared for the heavier swings, save life for the heavier swings. Then I swing for 7. This takes a 2 and a 1. He does not have it. I swing for 9. So take 2 2s and a 1. Again, he does not have it. I swing for 12. And things are looking very rough for my opponent. He takes that 2. I trash Brook. I try to restand Lon Beppo, but I forget Brook can only restand an 8 cost or less. So I swing for 9. And even if my opponent could get out of this, I could use leader ability to restand my Lon Beppo again and swing for another 12. But my opponent gives me a 2 and 2 1s. Cannot get out of another Zoro. GG's. Let's move on to the next one. All right, our next game is against OP15 Purple Enel. This is a very strong leader, one of the strongest leaders in the game, if not the strongest leader in the game. I'm not a big fan of him. I think he does way too much. I don't know what they were thinking when they made him, but the power creep has gotten insane, and we just have to live with it. This is Brook's worst matchup by a long shot. Enel can go very wide, very quickly, and at the same time has a ton of big swings. Furthermore, he gets a lot of card draw for playing down every single card, so he's kind of just a menace. You have to either whittle him down, starve him, and just outlast him, or you kind of just lose the game. I got very lucky this game, so I'll talk about that as we get through it. For those of you who don't know, Purple Enel has a very unique leader ability. Under the rules of this game, he cannot have more than 6 Dawn in his Dawn deck, so it kind of limits what he can do, but he was given a very great kit, which I'll try to explain as we go through the game. Additionally, his activate main is, if it is your second turn or later, you may add 1 active Dawn and ramp 4 rested Dawn, and then you may attach 4 rested Dawn to one of your characters. So the game plan is he drops a bunch of 1-cost characters, does a lot of Dawn minusing effects, gets it all back, attaches the 4 rested Dawn to a small character, and swings very large. It's a great deck. It's there's not much more I can say about it. So let's start this game. My opponent chooses to go first. That is very rough for us because not only does Enel want to go first, but we want to go first. Ideally, we would be able to take that curve from them, but here we are. Okay, my opponent has a 1 Dawn, starts the turn with 1 Dawn, has no play. That is fantastic news for us. We're very lucky. It would have been very frustrating to deal with 2 6-cost swings on my next turn. So I play down Chopper, and I grab a 1-cost Zoro. I'm thinking of grabbing a Nami Searcher, but I go for the Zoro because I want to clear his board quickly. Then I pass the turn. It is my opponent's 3-Dawn turn now. I expect them to maybe play a dog. I'm a little worried. Holly is a very dangerous character. Instead, Enel plays Ohm. Dawn -1. It replaces a card in hand. This is a very strong 1 cost character. He does the leader effect, ramping a few rested Dawn and 1 active Dawn, and attaches it to Ohm for no really particular reason, just because you can, and then swings 8 to life. Then I take it, no big deal, take your first life, 8's a big number, they pass the turn. So my 4 Dawn turn, I immediately play down the Zoro and swing 2 into 2. If they want to protect it, I'm going to swing into it with leader. They decide not to protect it, probably wise. Now I have no really good 3 Dawn play, so I swing for 8 back at my opponent. They take it, and I pass the turn. It is Enel's 6th Dawn turn now, so that's the great thing about Enel is very quickly, with 1 leader ability, he's at max Dawn and can play his largest characters. So he plays down his 6-drop Enel. This is a 6-drop 8k, but if you have 6 or less cards in hand, he's actually a 6-cost 10,000 power character. Very strong. Unnecessarily strong? Maybe. And his on-play effect is he can do a top 5 search and grab any card. It doesn't matter what type it is. It doesn't matter if it's a character or an event. He grabs any card. Fantastic, fantastic secret rare. My opponent does Dawn -1 for a event. There's not really much you can do for it. I think he just does it so that way he can use leader ability to get an active Dawn back. Then he swings for 6, and I 2k out because I know we got some big attacks on the way. It is my 6th Dawn turn. I don't have much to play. I mill. I draw into a 1-cost Sanji. My options are very limited right now, but I still can make it work. I swing for 5. They give me a 1-cost counter that draws them another card. I play 6-cost Law to pull back the 2k to hand, which is very nice. Then I play my 4-cost Usopp rested. I don't like him rested. They have ways to freeze rested characters. They have ways to KO characters with low power, and he's a target that they can both swing. But it's a presence on the board that they have to deal with, and so that's why I'm okay with cheating him out, even though he does not get as much value as he would while he was active. My opponent takes his time thinking about his next turn. I assume he's trying to decide whether he should go wide or not. He decides to go Enel into Usopp. I let it happen. Usopp's on KO can rest a 7-cost or less character, but it can also rest leader. So that gives me a nice break. There's no attacks coming to my life. That is a fantastic turn. My opponent drops another 6-cost Enel, doing another top 5 search, and then I assume he will pass the turn. There's not much that he can do. My opponent's just taking his time, trying to find the perfect card. He does not have to reveal the card, otherwise I would be able to see it in that left-hand side that is taking note of all the moves. And I'm just waiting for my opponent to decide. They trash... Oh, sorry. I apologize. You draw one, and then you trash one. So they decide to trash a Reiju, and they pass the turn. So now I'm trying to decide how I want this turn to look. I'm on my 8 Dawn turn, so now I know I can play a Nami into something. 90% of the time, if you're on your 8 Dawn turn and you don't have a Nightmare Luffy on board, you're going Nami into Nightmare Luffy. I swing for 5, they take it. I swing for 6, they'll probably give me a 2,000 power counter. If they go down to 2 life already, that would be really awesome for us. But they counter out, so I drop a Nami into a Nightmare Luffy, and then I swing for 9. They take the 9,000 power swing, and I pass the turn. I'm very nervous right now that they have perhaps a Gamma Knife. There are ways for Enel to get rid of my Nightmare Luffy very easily. Looks like I lucked out, and they did not have the card in hand. They decided instead to play a 4-cost 5,000 power Reiju. If there are 4 events in the trash, this Reiju gains plus 5 cost and plus 2,000 power. So very strong blocker to run for a cost of 4 Dawn. They attach 1 Dawn to leader. I think they forgot that I was a 7k leader. It happens. Then they play out Shura, which is a rush character. They go 6 into my Frozen Law. I forgot to mention that they played Lightning Dragon and freezing my Law. I let them have it. Then they use leader effect, attach all the Dawn to Shura, swing 7 into 7. I counter out because I'm about to get 2 10,000 power swings to my face, and I am probably going to take both of these. I do. So now I'm down to 1 life. Kind of in the danger zone right now. I am trying to decide whether I should play Nami into another target or if I should use Law and Beppo. I'm at 17 cards in my deck, so I'm not quite within lethal range. I do have a Sanji in a 0-cost event, so that does help. I go 5 into Shura just to see what he does in case he decided to block that. I go 6 into Life, and my opponent again does not block this. So he's keeping that Reiju up. I think he's going to keep it up for this 9,000 power swing, but I believe he takes this too. My opponent decides to counter out of this attack. Very surprising. If they're going to counter out, I don't know why they would not have just blocked and then countered. Would have taken less cards from hand, but they use a Mama Ragon, giving them 1 and then drawing them a card. Then they use a Divine Departure, pitching a card for another 3, and then give a 1k. So they get out of it. I decide it's probably best to really slow my opponent down. I decide to freeze one of their 6-cost Enels. I probably could have done that first and made my leader's swing stronger last turn, but wasn't entirely sure how I wanted to play this upcoming turn, so I decided to save it for the end. This makes my leader 9,000 power, and now they only have 3 viable swings. I feel much more comfortable than if I had played Nami into a Zoro or something else that would have been strong offensively, because then it would have been very weak defensively. My opponent plays another 4-cost Reiju, double block ring, never hurts, never hurts. They have 2 Dawn to work with. We're just seeing if they want to attach that Dawn to maybe their 6-cost Enel and try to get this last life out of me, or if they want to play a couple of 1-cost characters. This is a tough turn for my Enel. Okay, so they just decide to use leader ability immediately, attaching 4 Dawn to their 10,000 power Enel. They will probably attach the last 2 Dawn as well. I don't see why they wouldn't, since I am a 9,000 power leader. They could attach 2 to leader and swing into Nami, in which case I just let that go. But no, they attach all 6 Dawn to their Enel and swing 16 into 9. And by 9, I mean my Nightmare Luffy. This is dangerous. I kind of want to keep Nightmare Luffy on the board. I really like that swing, but it would take a lot of counter from hand. And unfortunately, it would take counter cards that I need to mill out next turn. So I'm trying to count whether it's worth to let go of my Nightmare Luffy so that way I have cards to mill out next turn, or if I should spend everything to keep him alive, allowing me to perhaps mill out, get an extra swing with Law and Beppo. I'm looking through my trash, looking for options to play off of Nami in case I do let this Nightmare Luffy go. I am really taking my time with this because it is a big investment if I decide to save this. If I do save this, there are no more swings that can come at me. They can waste a blocker and swing into my Nami, but I think that'd be a little ridiculous. I do decide to save it, so I drop my 3k event, a 2k, a 1, and that 1,000 power Nightmare Luffy actually boosted me to 2,000 power because it got me to 30 cards in my deck, so you have to keep an eye on that. And then I give him my Brook. Then the game is looking out for me. I top deck a Dead Man's Game. My lethal calculations have become a lot easier. I use Dead Man's Game immediately, resting their 2 blockers. I'm not within mill range, but I have 3 or 4 attacks, but I swing for 7 first just to see what my opponent will do. So I'll have 3 big attacks. All 3 will have to go through, but with only 4 cards in hand, I am in a comfortable position. They use Mama Ragon, giving 1, drawing, and then a 2k. So I then attack 9 with my leader. It would take 2 2s and a 1, or some sort of like play a counter, draw a card, play a counter, draw a card that Enel can sometimes do. I swing for 10, and then I swing for 12, and that is the game. GG's. Let's move on to the next one. So let's start it off. I draw into 2 searchers, a Kinemon, and a 0-cost event. That's great. I immediately decide to keep it. I mill first, I look what I see, and I play Kinemon. He's a great 1 Dawn turn. I'm enjoying him a lot. Rest leader, draw 2, trash 1. I trash my double attack Luffy because I've said this before, you really just want him in your trash. You want to play him off Nami. Hard playing him is difficult, and he's a brick in hand. So I get rid of him quickly. My opponent plays a Daz Bones and a Bon Clay. That is a lot of characters on the board already. I'm a little scared. I'm looking at my trash. I decide to play a Nami, and I grab a 2K Zoro. Or, I don't know, I'm deciding between a 2K Zoro or 2K Sanji. Sanji's great for mill. Zoro is great for clearing that board. I do end up going for the Sanji just because if you look at my trash, I have a Zoro right there. So if I really need to grab one with my Chopper, I can. So then I play out Chopper. I don't really see anything. I decide to pop it immediately, grab a Nightmare Luffy, just so I can have one in hand, make sure that I get value out of this Chopper, because again, with the new starter deck, there's a lot of mechanics that rests and or KO low-cost characters. So I get immediate value from my Chopper, and I pass the turn. I'm expecting a lot of 6K swings this turn. I also didn't grab that 1,000 or 1 cost 2,000 power character rush Zoro because I know that if my opponent decides to swing both of these characters this turn, that I will use my weenies to go straight into board as well. So there was a little extra value that I didn't think was necessary. My opponent decided to play the 4 cost Croc immediately, so he will not be swinging Bon Clay, which is probably nice because then we don't get an extra 6,000 power swing, but B, he doesn't lose it immediately, which he would have. My opponent swings for 5 and I take it. I should have countered it. I wasn't really paying attention. I just lost my train of thought and I was like, oh, now there's a 7,000 power swing coming at me. Not ideal. Please keep an eye on how much Dawn your opponent has left, if they've restood their 2 Dawn per turn or not. So that way you don't just end in this little predicament that I'm in. I swing 2 into 2. My opponent should just let this go. If he counters out, he's going to get another 2 to 2. Then he's going to get a 5 to 2. So we'll see what my opponent decides to, how my opponent decides to act. He lets it go. That's smart. He probably should have done that sooner, but that's okay. I use a Prona search, grab a DMG, use a Nami search. There's a docking. I don't need it. So my only really option is this 6 cost Luffy. That's okay. Now I use a Kinemon, trash that 7 cost Zoro, and swing for 6. That was a lot of searching, a lot of filtering. This new Perona and this new Kinemon allow for a much, much more consistent hand filter and search. I trashed the 7 cost Zoro over the other 2 bricks because I actually want to see my Zoro in trash. I need that as a target for Nami. I already have a double attack Luffy in trash, and I can hard play it if I need to. My opponent swings for 6. I give it 2. And my opponent will likely swing 2 more 6s, or maybe a 6 and a 7. They have 2 active Dawn. They actually attach both Dawn to Bon Clay. I use a 0 cost 3K event, getting one of those bricks out of hand. And my opponent decides to swing his blocker for 6. I think I should just counter out of this. Yep, I want to get out of everything. I want to be a 7,000 power leader with 2 life. I don't want to be at 1 life. It's just too risky. I swing 2 into 1. My opponent lets it go immediately. There's no reason to keep it. I have so many 2,000 power swings coming if he decides to keep it. I swing 5 to life. My opponent should just block this for free. There's no reason not to. There are no other swings coming this turn because I will be dropping a Nightmare Luffy. My opponent counters out. Maybe he thinks I'm going to do something sneaky, but I'm not. I'm just going to drop Nightmare Luffy, get my leader to 2,000 power, and I pass the turn. It is now my opponent's 8 Dawn turn. This is a big turn for them. They can start attaching a lot of Dawn. They can go wide. They can drop 7 cost Boa. They decide to go wide again, dropping another Buggy and Prisoner of Impel Down combo. For those of you who don't know, that 5 cost Buggy not only cheats the prisoners out, but also grants them blocker once I swing. So I decided to mill. I'm at 7 cards left in my deck. It's really good to keep an eye on that. I play Nami, probably into that 7 cost Zoro that I just trashed last turn. Yep. I rest one of the blockers. Oh, yes, I got to figure out which blocker I want to rest. One of the prisoners, or if I want to rest the crocodile. I go for the crocodile. Doesn't really matter. I swing 8 into crocodile just to get a blocker off a board. I don't really want to see it in the future. It might have been better to swing face just because I know that they have to play, or not have to play, but they're more likely to play a character next turn, so they're going to block either way to open up some space. Oh well, they take the crocodile hit, they take a 9 to life, and they take a 10 to life, and I pass the turn. The game is feeling a little more manageable, although I am scared. They have a lot of 6,000 power bodies. If they decide to swing all of them with a lot of Dawn attached, things could get scary. But I leave one Dawn up for DMG. I have a 2k in hand. I have an extra life. It would be hard for them to math out lethal correctly, I think. So my opponent decides to play it safe. They drop a Boa Hancock, preventing my Zoro from resting next turn. That Boa is an unblockable swinger as well, which makes her a very dangerous threat on the board. She can't use her effect on my Nightmare Luffy because he's Luffy. They keep that stipulation in the game. It's very fun that Boa effect of freezing or turning them to stone does not work on Luffy. So my opponent swings 2 7s with the 5-cost buggies. I should just counter out of both of these. I take it. I'm a little surprised. I think I'm trying to bait them to swing their prisoners because that's less blockers for me to deal with next turn. And I know I can get out of both attacks in case they do decide to swing both. So I did bait it. They do waste one of their blockers, which is very nice. With a 9,000 power swing, I just get rid of a 2-1. I keep my 0-cost event over my Sanji. It doesn't really matter either way. Both are great mill options, and I'm going for lethal this turn. There is no surviving next turn. They have too many characters and potentially a restand event, and I just do not want that happening. So I'm looking through my trash, trying to see if I can grab anything from my chopper, if that would be valuable, spending 2 Dawn for chopper, then spending, X amount of Dawn, 6 amount of Dawn for Brook, or grab a Nami. But then I realized, okay, wait, I can't really do those plays. I need an extra Dawn for milling. So I decided to just use 4 Dawn, DMG, get rid of that blocker. Now I have 3 swings coming with a restand. So that is 4 total swings. I swing for 7. This is a likely 2 and a 1. That's exactly what they do. They give me a prisoner and a Daz Bones. Now they have 4 cards left in hand. Things are a little risky. All 3 of these attacks have to go through. So I'm trying to debate if I should go 9, 11, 11, or if I should go 8, 12, 12. I don't like the idea of doing an 11k swing when my opponent has 6 cards in hand. That is just too risky. So I decided to go 8. If they have 2 2s, they got it. Maybe math is better to go 9, 11, 11. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have to save 1 Dawn for my 0-cost event. So this will be 8, 11, 11, or it could have been 9, 10, 10. 10 is way too risky with 6 cards in hand. So I go 8 to life. I go 10 to life. 8 to life. I go 11 to life. I mill. And then I restand my Nightmare Luffy. I go 11 to life again. This would take 7, 9, 11, 3 2Ks, and a 1. My opponent seems to be thinking, but they don't have it. They have 3 1Ks. That's pretty brutal. But yeah, that's the Luffy game. This matchup is very difficult. I don't think it's as difficult as Enel because they don't succeed with removing your board as easily. But nonetheless, a lot of 6,000 power characters poking you at face is always going to be very difficult. So, GG's, let's move on to the next one. Our last game today is going to be against OP16 Black Yellow Teach. This is a very strong deck. I was actually very excited to play this deck when it was released, but I kind of struggle with playing decks that are too good. I think that it's not as fun, and Teach is a very linear deck, and while there are a lot of tech options, it is not something that ended up being for me, especially with the price of the secret teaches, although they have gone down. Anyways, secret teach, his main effect is if on opponent's attack once per turn, you may trash a card from your hand with a trigger and redirect that attack to one of your characters or leaders with the Blackbeard Pirates type. So you're redirecting one attack per turn at the cost of a card in hand. Then he has an innate effect where all of your characters gain +1 cost on your opponent's turn. Helps a little with freezing and with removal, but the main problem of Teach is that redirect, and then in combination with the 10 cost, 12,000 power blocker Teach, things become very difficult very quickly because that uh, blocker Teach prevents one of your opponents from attacking that next turn. So with that blocker, the blocker's effect, and a redirect, they actually just completely remove 3 of your attacks per turn if you let it get to that stage. So you always have to be aware of that when you're playing this game. Teach likes to go second. I like to go first, so we both get our curves. I see 5 searchers in hand. Well, 4 searchers and a mill, so I keep it. That's a hand I want to see. I played Nami first. I probably should have played Kinemon first because it gets more value. You just rest your leader, but I was just so excited to see so many searchers that I blacked out. So I grab a Nightmare Luffy, and during my opponent's search, they grab a Zehaha event, very strong. I'm now on my 3rd turn. I mill, played a Chrono Searcher. I grab a Kinemon, it's my only target. Then I play a Nami Searcher. I find the docking, fantastic, so I can play it next turn. Things are starting to kind of fall into place right now. And then I swing 6 for life. I don't need to do much more searching. There's not a point. I could just save the hand for counter. My opponent swings for 5. I should probably just give him this one. There's no reason not to. I have so many ones in my hand. I could be greedy and take the life, but yeah, I just give him a Kinemon. There's no reason not to. My opponent places a 4-cost Burgess down. Normally, I'd like to get rid of that card as fast as I can. I don't know if I'll have time to do that, or the means to do that. So I play a docking into Chopper, and I see a 8-cost Nami, just in case my opponent places one of his 1-cost characters down that KOs chump characters on KO or some other form of removal. I grab a Nami, so now my next turns are set. I have Nightmare Luffy, I have 8-cost Nami. My opponent is on his 6th on turn. Normally, Teach on his 6th on turn, he plays down Shiryu, gaining a life. I give another one. I want to get rid of these ones while I can. I can't guarantee that he'll keep swinging 5s. Normally, I'm a little greedier. So he swings for 6. I'll probably take this, see what I can get out of it. And then I'm expecting my opponent to play 6-cost Shiryu, gaining a life, and then I can kind of continue my engine. Drawn to a 0-cost event from life. But then my opponent plays Rayleigh. I take the life because I feel confident, and then he plays a 6-cost Rayleigh, KOing my docking because it KOs based off of power rather than cost. And the only other stipulation is I have to be at 3 life. So taking that Burgess hit was actually my own downfall. Oh well, that's part of the game. I swing for 5, my opponent takes it, and then I drop a Nightmare Luffy and I pass. I drew into a Law Beppo as well, which is just fantastic. That means I can rest and freeze his 10-cost Teach whenever that comes down. My opponent spends 8 for his 8-cost Teach, doing a top 3 search and putting that card into life without showing it. Very strong card, could be anything with a trigger, could be counter, could be prep for later turns. Really love that card. I think that card is very cool. And I love the design of it too. The alt art of that card is one of my favorites. I swing for 9 just in case they have something cheeky lined up in that life. I don't want them messing up this 9,000 power swing. I'm hovering over this 8 cost teach right now because I assume he's going to redirect to it. It's a relatively free redirect. He won't lose a character for it. And knowing this, or predicting this, I think, okay, now what can I bring out with my Nami? Because this will be a free hit. I think, okay, the redirect is over with. Maybe if I swing for 6 and get some counter out, I can drop a double attack Luffy. But instead of a double attack Luffy, I actually bring another Nightmare Luffy out and swing for 9. My opponent's going to take this. In any other deck, double attack Luffy would have been perfect right here. The only problem is next turn is my opponent's 10 Dawn turn, meaning he's more likely than not going to drop a 10 cost Teach. And I said before, 10 cost Teach is a great card. It's a 10 cost 12k blocker. It nullifies your leader ability for this turn, and then for this turn and next turn, it nullifies one of your character's effects and stops them from attacking. That nullifying of effects is very important against Teach because it nullifies Nightmare Luffy's buff to leader. So I want 2 out, so that way when he nullifies one of them, my leader is still 7,000 power this turn, and he can't get way too much value off of those other characters on his board. So that's exactly what he does. He prevents one of my Nightmare Luffys from attacking. He uses the Zehaha event, so I have to take life to start the turn, or to start the play. And then he's going to swing 7, 7, 10 into my life. That would have been very unfortunate if I had not brought out another 7 cost Nightmare Luffy, because that would be probably a 6, 6, 7, 10 to a 5,000 power leader. Terrible turn. So I take the first one just so I can see what I get. And then I counter out of the second 7, and then I give a 3 and a 1. I probably should have just countered out of both 7s, but I was kind of scared that Teach would swing 10 into my 7,000 power Nightmare Luffy, and that would not have been great. So I play Law and Beppo, and I immediately rest and freeze their Teach. There's no other target that could possibly be rested. This is the card. I swing 6 to life, I'm going to swing 7 to life, and then I'm going to swing 10 to life. It is that simple, and then I have to hope that my opponent does not win on the clapback. I do have 3 2Ks in hand, so I feel very confident. And I swing 10 into 7 just to try and clear board. I probably should have done that first, but that's okay. Either way, they're going to use a card to redirect. And so I went into board just in case he decided to maintain hand size. It's much easier to take a life, gain some hand size, than it is to protect a character. So it was more likely for him to pitch a card, which I wanted him to do. Because that card that he just pitched was actually 2K, so ended up being pretty valuable. My opponent goes 6 and a 6. I'm probably going to let him have it. It's not worth saving. If he goes 6 and a 6, it means he might not be going for lethal this turn, which is good news to me. More likely than not, he's going to drop another 10 cost Teach. Now, just so you guys are aware, I am a 9,000 power leader because of the Law and Beppo's effect stacking on the Nightmare Luffy's effect. I know you guys saw that in previous games, but this made the turn much more difficult for my opponents. It only gave them 1 valid swing, which is just immaculate. So actually, I mean, it gives them 2 valid swings, but now they can't play another 10 cost Teach. That was kind of the decision I wanted them to make. They swing for 10. I give them a 2K. I'm trying to count their Dawn, how much more they could actually swing for. They have 8 more Dawn, so they could probably swing 11 and 12. I get out of the 10 with 1 2K. Then they are probably going to swing. Oh, they swing big. They swing a lot bigger. They swing for, 13? And with 5 Dawn left, you can only imagine they're going to play Borsellino, try and stabilize. And so I think, okay, if he's dropping a Borsellino, I am protecting this Luffy with my life. So I spend all my 2Ks. I protect my life. I protect my Nightmare Luffy. He drops a Borsellino, gaining a blocker, gaining a life, pitches a Borsellino from hand to grab a Vasco shot. And he did that with his stage. So this is kind of it. I have 2 cards left in my deck. I'm well within mill range. Very exciting. And so I'm going to just use DMG, get rid of this Borsellino, and we're just counting out lethal here. So I just have to remember that one attack goes straight into another character with his leader effect. So I'm going to go 9, and then probably 3 11s, or maybe 10, 10, 13. I go 10. He takes it. So he redirected the 9, which tells me a lot, by the way. Then I go 10, and then I go 10 again. And then I'm going to go 13, and then I'm going to mill and go 13 again. My opponent becomes a 7k leader, but it really doesn't matter. There's no way to get out of this. It would take all the counter in his hand just to get out of this attack, and Lon Beppo's getting another swing. GG's, that's the last game for today. I did record some other videos of some of the deck lists that are a little bit lower on the meta tier list right now, but still very viable, such as Rosinante, Katakuri, and Ace. So I'll probably go over those in a video in the future, which I'm very excited about. I have to pick and choose which videos, which games I want to show. I want to show all of them, but anyways, let's move on to the deck list. I will kind of try and give a couple more tech options, but ultimately I feel very excited for this deck, and I'm excited to try it out next week. So thanks for watching. Alright guys, thanks for watching all those videos. This again is the deck list. If I were to make any changes, like I said in the beginning of this video, I would be interested in adding more Kinemones, maybe less Peronas. Although I did find her useful, and I do find searching very useful in this deck. Not only is it good to just have the consistency, but also when you're searching 2 or 3 times in this deck, you really know what's at the bottom of your deck, and you can kind of plan out what you're drawing into, since every single game you are getting to the bottom of your deck by milling. I do like this double attack event. I might put it back to 2. 2 is what I run it at in my OP16 deck lists, although sometimes it's not optimal, so 1 doesn't feel too terrible. I don't think I saw the 6-cost law very much. I believe I saw it in the Enel game, and even then, it wasn't the most optimal play. Although without it, it would not have been a good. It would have been a pretty terrible 6 on turn. So I'm sticking with this law at 2. I really like him in the deck. It's tough running bricks, but I think he provides a lot of value that this deck needs, especially if it's searchable, and it can bring out a docking. I wish we had another 4 or 5 cost mill option that could be played off of him. Something where, if I have it rested, that it's not too terrible to lose, or your opponent is punished for attacking into it. There is a 4 cost Brook that is a promo card. I have no idea when this is going to reach the West. I really enjoy it. It's a 4 cost 5k / searchable, on play trash 3, and then on KO your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand. This would be a beautiful addition to this deck, especially the slash package, but fortunately we live in a world where Bandai creates these promo cards and then doesn't really release them. I don't know why. But other than that, this list is feeling pretty solid. Lon Beppo was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. I remember not really liking this card back when I tested it a set ago, but I really do enjoy it. I think that having a little top end option can be really, really helpful in some of these games, especially since we don't have a lot of top end resting mechanics or freezing mechanics. This has both. It ups your leader power. For those games where you need to just extend one more turn, this card feels great. Now, I'm not saying that you need to run him. Please playtest him, but I enjoyed seeing him in these games, and I haven't tried him in a really long time, so I'm going to keep him in the list and see how this goes. But that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching these games. I had a great time going through them. I have a couple more games lined up with more a continued list of relevant leaders, including Rosinante, Boa, Nami, and maybe Red Ace. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep playtesting. I'm very excited to see this. My locals is pretty competitive. It varies in leaders, but I'm certain that I will see Mihawks and Red Green Luffys in the future. So I hope that Brook kind of is able to maintain a steady pace with these other green decks. I think that he genuinely has the chops to make it big. I don't know if he will be the best deck in format ever, but he is so unexpected and so strong that you can really manipulate the game how you want to. And I think he has a really solid win rate into the majority of decks. I hope you guys give him a try. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about the Slash package in general, but also cards, these specific new additional cards. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.